Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday or happy Saturday, wherever you are. We're just glad that you're with us. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is The Listening Mentor here on USA Global TV and Radio. Before we begin with the beautiful, lovely, talented Caroline Heward and our topic for today, anxiety and relationships, I just want to share a couple of quick announcements. I'm very excited that I have launched a jewelry line in collaboration with Margie Cedrone, Artisan Jeweler. We have 5 pieces of jewelry that will be customized with your name, your tagline, your business name. So the first is this beautiful cuff, and obviously it will not have my name on it, because why would you be wearing my name? You will have your own name. This is sterling silver, and then the name is in all diamonds, and you can get the details over on my website, drjacalyn.com. And also my second book is out. It's called Adversity to Awesome, and this is also an Amazon #1 bestseller. My second book within 11 months that is blowing me away that they're both #1 bestsellers. So in this book, there are 12 chapters, and each chapter is devoted to a different person. And the first chapter is mine. My guest today, our regular expert here when it comes to busting your stress, Caroline Heward, she also has a chapter. So let's bring her out, the Harley Street stress expert. Welcome.
Congratulations. So exciting.
It is exciting. And I'm so glad that you're here as we celebrate. And by the way, today earlier on one of our shows, Adversity to Awesome, I actually read part of my chapter, which I've never done live. And I was really getting, when you go back to the situation and it's the emotions were there, which is good. We need to get our emotions out.
Amazing. And you have an incredible story. When I heard your story, I was blown away by what you've achieved since then and despite. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you. Back at you. You have an incredible story yourself. So we want people to go over and get this book. I'll show it again. I'm going to keep showing it. Adversity to Awesome. Go over and get it. It's 99 cents over on Amazon for the ebook. So Caroline, for people who are joining us for the very first time and they're saying to themselves, what is Harley Street? What is a stress expert? What does it mean to bust your stress? I'm going to highlight you. And if you can share a little bit about the work that you do, that would be fantastic.
Thank you. Harley Street. Harley Street is the famous street in London and known Europe-wide rather than global. It's known as Europe-wide, that it is the place where all the best doctors, complementary therapists are housed that are delivering their services. I've been in Harley Street since 2005. Why there? Well, I'm an ex-corporate girl, and I made a decision that if I was going to do therapy work, then I was going to be in the right place. Why be there? It's because there's a medical board at each of the houses, and they crawl all over your credentials to make sure that you gain your license to practice, so that I am who I say I am, and I've done what I do. How long have I been doing it? Why I consider myself an expert. I've been doing this work for 22 years now, and I reckon that would consider me as an expert. I've been evolving. It wasn't that I just did the training. I literally have done many, many trainings since and have evolved during those over 2 decades. What I do for people is, the stress is whatever you're complaining about. So if you've got headaches, back pain, knee pain, back pain. So those are the physical things, migraines, not sleeping. If you have emotional stress like sadness, loneliness, anger, heartache, if you have relationship issues, intimacy issues, anger management. So whatever it is that you're complaining about, that will be your stress. That's how it affects you. You will see it almost as a revolving door. And what I do is I help you and work through to identify the root cause when it first happened. And literally, it will literally lift and clear. It will give you an incredible night's sleep after your consultation. You'll feel deeply relaxed. The mind will go silent. You will feel calm, and you will get incredible relaxation during your call. I'm offering a free consultation for 30 minutes and you'll have incredible benefit. Why do I do it? Because I sorted myself out. I helped my own stress and depression when I was in corporate following my father's death. And I found some ways, and I want to share those with as many people as I can, here and privately.
Thank you so much. That's such a beautiful thing. We are going to be talking about anxiety in relationships, and anxiety can come from many different places. And I want to just show a clip, and I'd like to have us talk about what we're going to see in the clip and how it aligns to anxiety, if that makes sense. All right, let's take a look here.
Any one of us can feel lonely, anytime, anywhere. We can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. Some of us are more at risk than others, but research has shown that millions of us feel lonely some or all of the time. And long-term loneliness can make us feel anxious or depressed and have a serious effect on our mental health. Yet while millions of us experience feelings of loneliness, we can still find it hard to talk about. 1 in 5 of us hide our feelings of loneliness from others. It can be hard, but there are things we can do for ourselves and for others. Acknowledging we've all been there is a start. And by coming together, we can tackle loneliness. We can also help influence policy, support each other, and help prevent mental health problems. This Mental Health Awareness Week, we want to let everyone living with loneliness know that their mental health matters, and together we can make change happen.
Thank you to Helena Shard and Ian Pelham-Turner for sharing that clip with us. So we're alone and we're lonely, or we're not alone and we're lonely. And now we're anxious because we're lonely, or because we're alone, or because we have people around us all the time, and we're in a relationship, and now we're a complete mess. So how do we sort of peel that back to get to the core foundational issues of feeling anxiety, whether it's because you're alone, whether it's because there are so many people around, whether it's because you can't find your way forward? What are your thoughts as the expert?
I'd like to share with you something that I experienced, exactly this. And I always feel it's good to share personal because it then, it resonates with other people. I was very successful in corporate. I did a lot of black tie dinners and soiree, champagne receptions, the kind of thing in the corporate world, and also did it in my private life as well, because I extended my private life in the same way. And I remember saying I can be in a room full of people where they're literally, sort of greeting you with a mwah, mwah, on each cheek, the kind of thing I mean. And everybody loves me. And I felt, it was showing love. It looked like love. It looked like kindness and friendship. But I remember thinking, not feeling. I remember thinking, all these people know me, and yet I feel alone, and I feel like the loneliest girl in the world. And that is because everything was an external thing to me. I didn't feel things. I experienced from the mind. So I experienced, not through sensory feel, I experienced through what it looked like, what others would say about it, the approval, the looking perfect. And I did, I donned it well. I did it well. And many people do that are successful. They've done this facade, this image, I'm going to call it, of how it looks to be happy and looks to be successful. But actually, it's all external to you. It's like having lots of possessions. People go into retail therapy, buy lots of things to make them feel better, but it doesn't make them feel better. And that is because they feel separate from themselves. They feel separate from the world, and yet everything is connected. And loneliness is because you're externalizing everything. There is no loneliness when you move into the heart. When you move into your feelings and emotions, there is only you and everything you connect to and everyone. And when you're in the heart, all there is love. But when you're in the mind and when you're in the external of what you look like, what you sound like, and everything to do with the possessions, the people, the being seen, the being at the right parties, being seen coming out of the elevator with the right people, with the MD or the directors. All of that stuff is the corporate game, the corporate politician. I didn't play it very well. And at the same time, it was very challenging because many people did. And I felt lonely in that environment. Is this resonating with you? And does this kind of make sense in terms of how it can feel? Because it all looks good, but it's the internal. You internally don't feel good because you're in your mind. The anxiety is constantly thinking about what next, what next, what next, the future. You're not in the present moment, and so you're not feeling or experiencing anything, and that is lonely.
Great points. Thank you so much. I can completely identify with what you're saying. And someone said something to me many, many years ago, maybe even 2 decades ago, and I'd love to have your thoughts about this. The person said, "Stay out of the city." And I really didn't know what they meant about it. And as I thought about it years later, I was in Philadelphia, and I spent a lot of time in the city. There's a lot of things that go on in a city that don't necessarily go on if you're in a log cabin somewhere or if you're living out in the country. And I think what this person meant by that was temptation. And temptation can be a lot of different things, but I remember I belonged to this club and people were extremely wealthy, 7 homes and 10 cars and this and that. And I always felt like I didn't belong. And I remember I was so thrilled that I got into this club, but I never felt like I belonged. And I was constantly filled with anxiety. And I would say to myself, well, you must belong because you got to prove to be in, right? They proved to and said yes. But at the same point, I finally just retired from there because I never felt quite right. So my point is, it was in the city and it was always like keeping up with the Joneses, if that makes sense, and looking and dressing a certain way and speaking a certain way and people critiquing you. And I'm not saying everyone was like that, but there certainly were people like that. And there are people like that outside of the city as well. My point is, like you in corporate, when we are in a certain environment, it might not feel right and it might not look right. And our body reacts, or we make choices that later we have consequences with because we're not following our intuition. And the party life or the party girl, or I had a similar situation, and all of a sudden you start to look at your life and think, why did I need those shoes? Why did I need those bags? Why did I have to? And it doesn't mean anything anymore, does it?
But that's the environment that we've been taught shows us success. We've been shown this as from a child, the academic route of, sort of, you do your qualifications, you do well at school, you have a career, then you have opportunities, you go to university, college, if the funds aren't there, and you take a career, and then you live in your career. And that's exactly what I did. And then when you get to a point that you say, well, okay, then, this is supposed to make me happy. This is like I've done it all, I've ticked all the boxes, but this is the conversation. This is what we're sold as the route to happiness and success and fulfillment. The problem is, it isn't the recipe. And many people that see me have had that success, are enjoying that success. And yet there's a deep level of insecurity and loneliness, and a deep-seated unhappiness of, well, I have everything. But you know what? I'm really unhappy. The marriage isn't working, the relationship isn't working, and so they then move into working longer hours, harder hours, because that's where they get the results. And then we become almost like machines that, sort of, we feel that that's what it takes to be happy, because that's the recipe we were sold. And it isn't, because we're human and we have emotions and feelings. And to survive in those environments, especially in city, where it's the traders, the stockbrokers, the bankers, the solicitors, the lawyers, it's very mentally alert driven work. It's very focused in the mind. It's not about feelings and emotions. You'll never gain lots of money on the stock market if you're in your emotions, so it's looking very calculated and, really looking at the numbers and working it all out intellectually through a shown recipe that you've learned. And so you're not in your feelings and emotions. So when you go home into your personal life, you're still in your mind. You're still analyzing things. So you haven't come out of it. And so you go home and you're still analysing what she or he is saying to you, trying to work out how to sort out the problem of what they're saying. But they're not there. They're not in that environment. And so you land up always trying to problem solve, even when there isn't a problem. And that's because there's a disconnect with the feelings and emotions. That's what it is, the disconnect. The emotions have been shut off so that you can get done the things that we've been sold to do. So the diary's busy. Gosh, my diary was crazy when I was in corporate, and for many years afterwards. It wasn't, and I used to think that that was great, and it would thrill me that, I've got so much going on. And actually, it was just nothing, because I wasn't happy. I might have danced, and I used to get drunk a lot because I would drink wine and champagne because that was the lifestyle. But, now I can dance and not need anything and feel incredibly amazing, because it's not about the substance abuse to feel good. It's that I internally feel good, because I'm not after something on the external of me. I'm experiencing it inside of me.
That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Thanks for your transparency as well. I would like to add, I remember when I was in corporate, and I had a great job, by the way, great job, great company, wonderful people who work there. I have nothing but good things to say about all of them. And I would stay at the best resorts, and I'd eat the best food, and I'd be in first class, and I had all my points, Marriott rewards, not a paid spokesperson. And I remember so many times when the plane would take off and I'd go up in the air, I'd feel this sense of relief, like, oh, I'm away now. I'm away from, and I'm really nowhere. And I never really thought about that. What was it that I was trying to say to myself? And now today, I haven't been on a plane, and February was 2 years. So over 2 years, I haven't been in a resort, and I could care less. I don't care if I ever do those things again. It was part of my life, but I feel like it was just a blur that it's hard to specifically take things away from. But yet, since I've been doing this, I could write lists and lists and lists of all the things that I'm taking away from this platform and these experiences. So what would you say about that? What do you call that?
This is the catch-all, I need a holiday. When you're in corporate, it's, I've got to take a break. So the holidays are really important. So what you're describing is that space away from the work. So whatever time that is, sort of, I want to evolve that by saying that the holidays are really key when you're in corporate. The big fancy holidays are really key. where you spend a lot of money, they're exotic places, because it's the adventure that you can talk about, the things that make you, it's another thing that you sell, another thing that's, highlighting you as this incredible person, this exciting person, because it's in the external. And when you take the holiday, it takes a week to become comfortable and relaxed in the holiday. And then the next week you're thinking about the things that you're not doing, so you're then getting anxious, and so you spend a week relaxing into the holiday, a week getting anxious about what you've not done, and then when you get back to work you need a holiday from the holiday because you didn't get anything done, but you've been stressing about it as if you were still there. And that is that you weren't anywhere, you weren't in the holiday, and you weren't at work. And so you were only in your mind. And that's where the anxiety lives. When you're only in the mind, stressing about future stuff that's not happened or past stuff, you're in the mind and you're not being present and experiencing what there really is. And that release of, oh, I feel better now, is because you're not in the work situation and you're not in the home situation. You're actually nowhere, and nowhere is a good place when you're stressed everywhere else.
That makes so much sense, and it's really helpful. For our viewers and listeners who are experiencing anxiety, what can they do aside from call you? They should call you right away. We have your information out there, NoMoreStress at live.co.uk. And we also have your social media handles out there as well. What are some steps they can actually take to first even identify that they are going through stress? Because you know how you've seen this before. We've done it before. I'm fine. Leave me alone. I'm not under stress. I feel great. Right? We just start barking at people and we don't even realize we're so stressed out that someone asks us a casual question and we take it to heart because we know that something's not right, but yet we're not willing to do anything about it because we're still sort of in a denial stage.
Yeah, that's a really good point, denial. We can be in denial in our relationships because in our working situation, we'll generally feel that we're appeasing everything because it's about a results-driven environment. But when we're in our relationships, whether they be an intimate relationship or whether they be family, parents, siblings, your children, so whatever relationships, friendships that you're in a relationship. We're relating to everything and everyone. And what happens is the people that know us well push our buttons because they want you to be responding to them, not the mechanical them. And what's in your mind is what you think they're asking. And so my invitation is to become present with the other person and with you. Take a breath, literally take a breath into your body. Not the short, shallow breaths that you normally take when you're running around. Take a breath all the way down into the belly, and suddenly the mind will calm. Have something that you really like. So if you like you have a favorite drink or a favorite piece of fruit, so that you savor the taste and bring the taste buds alive. Because when you're in taste, you literally reinvigorate the emotions and feelings. You get right into the feelings and emotions very quickly. That's why going out for a meal, we can lose hours because we've got into the sensations of the experience of the food, the sounds, the environment, and we're away from everything. And it's no good having a meal and being in your phone or being in a conversation with your mind in terms of the meeting that you've just had or the meeting that's going to happen tomorrow. So this is about being in the very second of the moment that you're in and being with the other person. If you're watching a movie, you don't have to go out. Watch a movie and really watch the movie. You'll know that you're watching the movie and being really present when you're getting excited. when you're sort of, if I've ever watched a horror movie or something that's like a suspense drama, and I jump out of my skin because something's happened that's kind of not, I'm like in the movie. And it's because I'm being present to what I'm watching. I'm almost in the movie and experiencing what's happened and jumping because, oh, that frightened me. And so that's when we are being present. And when you are really with the other person, everything becomes very magical and everything becomes more relaxing. Sleep is better.
I thought you were going to say something else is better, but you stopped just short of it.
Well, I could go on, but we are, sort of before the threshold.
And sleep is so important. I think it's interesting. When I was younger, let's say when I was in my 40s, I used to brag about the fact that I only needed 3 or 4 hours of sleep because I had my career, I was getting my doctorate, I had a part-time job as a makeup artist, and I was running a store on eBay with 60 auctions a week, and I was packing up all the stuff and selling it. And it's so ridiculous when I think about it today. But why is it there are some people that are so sure that a good night's sleep is not that important, that they're just a machine?
Because of the messaging we've been given. It's the productivity. Oh, well, sort of, so you shine. I did this, I did that. I mean, I'm a master at it. That's what I did. I did lots of things and won awards, and I was always doing lots of, and I had feedback from friends saying, reading your newsletter makes me dizzy because how'd you pack it all in? It's always easy, and it's because you're existing in the events and in the things rather than being with yourself. And now I actually feel so much more comfortable to almost take a night off, or watch a movie that interests me, or watch a drama that, and just kind of, be a little bit of a couch potato for a few hours and enjoy it, and not feeling that I did something wrong, because sometimes I'm working, in the middle of the night because I get calls at strange times, or it's quieter and I do my paperwork then. And it means that then I'm not sleeping. But when I go to sleep, I'm actually sleeping in a much deeper and more restful way because I've done the things that need to be done. And so it is a bravado coming from that corporate lifestyle of getting things done and looking great on the outside, that, sort of you look really productive. But it's not the way to live. We do need our sleep. We do need our nourishment. We do need our downtime where we do very little, nothing. One of my things is to do my meditations, is to dance, is to go to gong baths, to chant. I spent a couple of hours last night chanting online. And so these are my downtimes. These are the things that I do, even though they're activities, they make me go inside of myself. So I feel good. And everyone will find their things. It might be the gym. It might be to go out for meals. It might be to go to the cinema. We'll all have our things that we like to do that make us feel good.
Very true. And I have to say, I'm very grateful that I'm a good sleeper. There was a small period of time in my life when I wasn't that great of a sleeper, but fortunately, knock on wood, knock on anything else, I find real joy in learning and in growing. So I feel like I'm always doing research about things I'm interested in. And then when I'm able to put them together, like this new book that's coming out, the children's book, I just think that's amazing. I never would have thought of writing a children's book to help children and adults learn elevated listening skills. And I've never written a children's book. I don't know anything about it. So just doing that research and then working with you, you're in the book, your characters in the book, and hearing what people are coming up with, their characters. So to me, that's really exciting. Going out for a meal, I don't care about that anymore. I used to go out to dinner 4 times a week and walk around the bar and talk to everyone and give out my cards. And I don't even have any cards anymore.
I know. How the world has changed. Well, you say, you really could paint my life, because that's how it was. And essentially, I'm going to share something really personal again, because it makes an impact when you hear that, I really live that kind of lifestyle. I had a really, really very dear friend for many years, over 2 decades. And she commented about the fact that I was always in some training or some conference or some seminar. And she said, why do you do that? Don't you think you have enough? And it was her perception, because I was always always looking for something. She said, what is it you're looking for? And it was my buzz. And it was something that kind of kept me going. It was something that was interesting to me. And I my mum actually said to me when I was 40, she said, I think you'll still be training and doing courses when you're 60. Well, she's not wrong. And it's because my mum got that that's the way that I am. That keeps me young. That keeps me entertained. That's me. That's who, I'm the lifelong learner, the lifelong student. It's not that I did school, university, and then quit. This is what makes me feel amazing. And it sounds like you've discovered that too, that many people do their corporate training, they do the lifestyle, and then that's it. They don't do any more training. And this is when our spirit has challenges. And that's why you'll be more energized, because there's something to learn, something to grow from. And it really does keep you useful. It keeps you, the fact that you're constantly learning is what the spirit needs. And we are spirit having a human experience.
And when we are going through these experiences, I feel like what you've just shared, and thank you for sharing your personal stories, we can learn to take things away from these stories and these experiences to help us deal with our own anxiety. So I think the first thing is we have to be in alignment with ourselves. We have to listen to our intuition. When I think about all the times I made mistakes, I was not listening to my intuition. We just know, it just comes up like this little voice or something. And it's like, I'm not really sure. You're sure. But for whatever reason, we decide to go down that path anyway, knowing that it's filled with potholes. But we come out on the other side, thank goodness, and we've learned some new things, and now we're not going to go down that path anymore. So my point is, when we're not in our integrity or in our alignment or following our passion, then that in and of itself can cause anxiety. And when we feel like we have to keep up with other people or keep up with the latest trends, for example, that can cause anxiety.
Absolutely. To be your own person, to be comfortable. I have a description of this: to be comfortable in your own skin, to stand out for who you are and who you're being, rather than following everyone and everything, or the things that you think you should be doing. Because what's right for one person doesn't necessarily mean it's right for you. And what makes a success for one person might not be successful for another person. It's about our personalities. It's about our life path, what we need to reap from our experience of our time here. What mine might be different to yours. What yours might be will be different to a member of your families. And so my family all think that I'm just, sort of a little bit crazy, really, because I'm always on training courses. I'm doing all sorts of crazy things, like being on this show every week, and then I get awards, and I'm saying, it's just what you do. And I'm the one in the family that does do those things, and nobody else does it. And it's like I'm the anomaly in the whole family. They just go, one of my brothers says to me, sis, that's just what you do. And it is what I do, and it's what makes me me. And what makes him is that he does what he does. But then there's conversation, because he'll say things, my middle brother will say things like, well, sis, when I've finished work, I just come home and, I just want to eat, and then I just want to relax. I don't want to do anything. He says, but you're doing this, that, and the other. And he says, I don't know where you get, where do you have the energy from? I said, because it revitalizes me. It makes me feel good. It gives me an energy because it's enjoyable. And so I've shared some things with him, and I go, well, I get your point. But, he left school a long time ago. and I'm old, I'm much older than him, and he's going, well, yeah, you make sense. But it's only because I'm doing some different things. Otherwise, I wouldn't have those different perspectives. And
right. Sorry.
It's what makes me feel different and feel more alive, because I'm working through the things when I'm in trauma, in challenge, because we all have it, even me, we have things that go on that don't work, and and things that are challenging, relationships that can be difficult. We all, I'm not superhuman. I still have that too, and I have to handle it. But when I handle it, I move forward and I grow through that so it doesn't happen again in the same way. And that's what's different.
Yes, that's a great point. For our audience, I would love for us to be able to provide some additional tips and suggestions that they can actually do today, tonight, this weekend, if they're in a relationship. We didn't even get to this, but aside from anxiety and stress that we feel personally, many times we're in a relationship with another person and that doesn't feel right. And we know it doesn't feel right. And we try to communicate with the other person and we're just not on the same page. So, of course, we could have a whole week's worth of shows just about that. But in terms of stress and anxiety in a relationship with another person, somebody's watching our show, they're going to finish watching it, they're going to go back to their environment, and there's that stress and anxiety. What are some things that they can do to keep themselves whole and at peace, knowing I'm not leaving tonight, I'm not breaking this off, I'm not filing for divorce, I'm not quitting my job? What are some basic things people can do?
It's more about response and reaction. Stress is a response and reaction mechanism. So if you are not reacting and responding to somebody else kind of having a go or saying, I'm not happy about this, I'm not happy about that, they will have their own stress and you will have yours. And it's the reaction and the response. So if you're feeling upset about something, that is your reaction. Now, this is where it's beautiful, because you can handle that, because it's your reaction. You can change how you experience that and change your response to it so that you don't feel upset, so that you don't feel angry, so you don't feel disengaged in the relationship, because each of you will have your own stuff to handle. And when you come together, you've got your challenges, the other person's got theirs. And when you come together, you'll be pressing each other's buttons. And so it is about taking responsibility for how you feel and how you're responding and reacting. And when you're not reacting and responding in a challenging way, in an upset way, in an angered way, in a you did this and the blame or shame game, that changes how you experience yourself in the relationship, and that calms you, and that in turn will calm the other person, because they can't be having a go or complaining about something if you're not responding. And it's not about giving them the silent treatment. It's about really being in your core that it's not bothering you. There's something that's going on for them that's their repeat pattern, their stuff. And that dynamic of the relationship, of the responding and reacting, is how the changes and the blossoms come out of the relationships. So taking responsibility for how you respond, react, and how you feel in that situation. The other thing that I would suggest is that's a way of stealing energy when we're kind of doing the blame shame game, and you did this and you're not good enough and you don't love me, and when we're kind of in those situations. And so take stock of how you're feeling. Take a breath. Take your own breath and go into a place of calm inside yourself through your breathing, and that will change the chemistry and the energy of the relationship that's happening in that moment. And if you're in a state of smiling, gratitude and joy, the other person will find it very difficult to be whining and moaning at you.
You did it again, of course. Fabulous information that our viewers and listeners can take away. And one thing I also want to share is I've said this to my immediate family members that after broadcasting from Monday through Friday and being in the darkness in front of all the lights, I don't really want to talk to anyone on Friday night. And I don't say it to be mean, but I just know I'm at my limit and I need to take some time just for me. And they were really receptive to that, which I think is terrific. I don't think there's anything wrong with knowing who we are and what we need. And when I have this space that I need on a Friday night for maybe 2 hours, not the whole night, then I'm so pleasant and sweet and nice and interested. But during those 2 hours, I'm not trying, I am processing a lot of information and in appreciation for what I've learned and the people I've met and closing things out. And I just need that time to decompress.
And you know what? That's great. I am so happy you do that, because it's important. This is not that you feel that you've done something wrong. This is that you know yourself and you're taking your absolute, because if you didn't take that space, you can't function for somebody else, because the first relationship is self. That's the first relationship. And if we're not honoring self, how can we honor the other person in that relationship? And everything we're being to ourselves then extends to the other person. So if you're not in a place of loving yourself and honoring yourself when you need the space and the time, just to, as your words, decompress, mine will be to, sort of relax, to literally have some space to be on my own and in my own thoughts and in my own experiences. One of the things I do is take a 20-minute shower every day. And that's because that's one of the things that I do that literally washes away my day. And I feel then ready for bed, and sometimes I have 3 showers a day because I'm doing different things, and it kind of just decompresses everything that's been going on. So the first relationship is self. And when you honor and respect yourself, that comes back in the relationship with others. If you love and honor and respect yourself, then others will do the same. Love and honor and respect you. It starts with you. If something's not working on the external of you in relationships, change what's happening and how you're treating yourself, and then it will change in your external world.
Thank you for that. I think it's so important to honor ourselves, be true to ourselves. And also, you have to be an effective communicator in addition to being an elevated listener. So if you don't know what you need and you don't know what you want, how's someone else supposed to know that? And I think in general, most people would like to have a pleasant conversation. When I say pleasant, meaning there's not a lot of anger, there's no manipulation. It's really heart centric, where I care what you want to say, you care what I have to say. But if we're not in our right space, physically, mentally, to do that, it's okay to call that out and say, I want to honor you by letting you know that right now I need to take some time, and that's not going to be a long time, or maybe it is going to be a long time, but you're not going to be the bearer of my of my anxiety. I'm not going to turn it around and put it back on you. I think people appreciate that.
It's absolutely true. Everything you're saying is, but we don't do it. This is the problem. We don't do it because we don't know how to. We've never been taught that at school, that we should be communicating when things aren't right. We just kind of brush ourselves down and carry on. And that's where the problems start. And this is the challenge. So it is about learning to feel that it's okay to say, look, it's not a good time right now. I can't be with you because I'm so tired. I just need to take some time out. I need to take an evening out or a few hours to do a few things and just to kind of relax and be me, to be on my own. And in my training, we called, when a man would literally disappear into the office, or, sort of we call it the man cave. So he just takes time out. The woman can do that too. So in psychology, sort of men will take their space by just literally building themselves an area in the home that is theirs, that, that's their escape place. But for the woman, generally in a relationship, she's everywhere. And so there is no escape place. The escape place is really not physical. It's in your mind.
It's in your mind, the old mind. Caroline, I've thoroughly enjoyed this show as always. Thank you so much. And I would love to have you close us out by just repeating your offer again. And people, please do reach out to her. She is so good at what she does and she wants to help you. Caroline, what's the best way to reach out?
You can reach me on email, NoMoreStress. So exactly as the 3 words sound, NoMoreStress at live.co.uk. Reach out by email and let me know what the problems are that you'd like help with, and also best timings, because this is a global audience, to connect with you and arrange a booking. So this is the vehicle to arrange the booking. And I'm offering a free 30-minute Zoom consultation. If Zoom doesn't work, I can also offer WhatsApp too. Let's discuss that in the email. And it's whatever is not working for you, whatever you're feeling stressed about, even if the relationship's not working. So please allow me to help you have a liberated lifestyle by literally liberating you from that stress that's keeping you awake at night.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
It's been always a pleasure. Well, there's no script here. I need to really say that to people, that I have no idea what you're going to ask me. And I'm being really honest. There is no script. It's just you asking the questions and I'm here, and it's beautiful. And I too enjoy our Friday evenings. And I too have fun, because I love to give, I love to educate people. And this is beautiful because you're just asking me all the questions that are relevant for you, that you want to know and you want to share, because you know that I know. And it's beautiful because it works. Thank you for being an incredible host.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And just so you know, I have no idea what I'm going to ask you. So I just pay attention to where, what you're saying, and then just ask the logical next question. So that's part of what we learn in the power of listening, right? That's just be present. People are always worried, especially if you go to a networking event, or what is that? I haven't done that in 2 years. But it doesn't matter what the interaction is. If you're fully present, follow the conversation and be a part of it, as opposed to worrying about what's the next thing that's going to come up. So I think that's why you and I get along so well and have this great chemistry, because we're both fully present and listening to what each other has to say.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you from my heart. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. I'll see you on Sunday.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Oh, I say this every Friday, and I just mean it so much. I love what I do. I am so blessed, and it's such a gift. And I never thought this is where I would be ever in a million years. If you asked me to project what I'd be doing, this was not on there. So thank you to Caroline, and thank you to each and every one of you for being here. Thank you for spreading the word. We have new people joining us all the time, and it's just fantastic. We have a new show that's coming out. I'm really excited. I have not announced this anywhere yet. So the title of the show is Aging Gracefully and with Humor. What do you think about that? All right, that's all I have for you right now, and we will be back shortly with our next program. If you've missed any of our shows or you want to watch all of our shows, you can go over to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV. And if you could click subscribe, we have many people from the stats that I can see who go to our channel and watch our shows, but they don't subscribe. And I guess that's normal because I go to other YouTube channels and I don't subscribe, but I'm starting to do that now. So please do subscribe. Let's help one another get the word out and have a place where people can share their stories from all around the world and other people can watch. That's what we're all about here. All right. Thank you again. We'll see you shortly. Bye.